Hello guys, welcome to Level Change channel. My name is Claudio Fonseca. I'm a real 777 pilot. Today we are going to fly the 777-300ER developed by PMDG for the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 from Boston to New York. One of my last flights, actually my last flight was to New York, so I'm going to try to recreate that approach. Same runway in operation apparently today, runways 22 in New York. And I left a question for you in our comments, in our live chat. I would like to know if you want me to perform an ILS approach or an RNAV approach. And if we go with the RNAV approach, we are going to request for the offset one that is mainly used for noise abatement purposes in that area. So let me know, and of course before top of descent we are going to finish this, and then we ask for ATC our approach into New York. Another thing that I want to tell everybody is about 25% off on FSI panel until the 7th of July. I'm doing this completely for free. Okay, JP, the developer from this application, which is the only application I cannot live without it. Of course, we need Microsoft Flight Simulator. We need planes like PMDG, but I also need FSI panel. It helps me to create content for you and helps me also to practice approaches seamlessly at any time. Why I say it also helped me to create content for you, because I can position my airplane anywhere I want in the world. Very simple, very easy. I don't need to configure anything. I can have the plane like it is right now. Actually, we need engines running and ADRU align, and then you move your airplane anywhere you want in the world, and that is going to help you to practice approaches, to fly any approach, or to take your airplane anywhere you want to create a content like I do here in this channel. So I'm doing this entirely for free because this is an amazing application, and you get 20% off discount direct on the website. Go to fsipanel.com, you will find it. I really recommend this application. Something else. Boa tarde, recruta. Bem-vindo à live. Hoje a live é em inglês para a nossa audiência internacional. Johnny, I'm going to reply to in Portuguese when I have somebody asking me things or commenting in Portuguese, but the main thing of this broadcast is English broadcast, so everything I'm going to translate it later on, and then of course the operation of the airplane I'm going to perform in English. Eu nunca consigo pousar desse modo, o avião sempre vem alto, mesmo eu setando o valor no mínimo no piloto automático. Quando pouso ILS é tranquilo. Então vamos resolver esse problema do RNAV hoje, se a galera votar lá no RNAV, tá? Eu também não posso passar pro RNAV só porque eu quero, se o pessoal não votar lá. So Johnny is saying that usually he arrives very high on RNAV approaches, and he is asking me to perform an RNAV approach. And if you vote for the RNAV, I'm going to explain how to use the autopilot and the correct modes for this kind of approach. So good afternoon, Johnny. Let's see how it goes. Me gusta RN RNAV. Let's try. Vote for the RNAV. What the company you work now? Unfortunately, recruta, I cannot say. Okay, but I do not fly in Brazil anymore for almost 9 years now. Okay, let me check how is this. Okay, we have 78% voting for RNAV approaches so far. Okay, so 78% against 22%. I think that's going to be the final answer, but the question is there, and we are going to check that. Let's say when we reach cruise level, is that okay for you? When we reach cruise level, we start preparing, approaching to New York, and then I close this question and we go to what we have from there. Okay, that's it. Let's start preparing this airplane. So let's go to GSX and let's request boarding.
Boarding requested.
So we have doors, which means more than one door is open right now. I can cancel this. So pilots are coming to the airplane. Okay, they are going to start loading the cargo and later on the passengers. So we got on board the airplane and we need to make sure we have a good airplane to start. So the only status that we have is TCAS because IDIRU is not aligned. Oxygen is good. For the APU, we are going to check how is the APU. Just to check APU oil quantity. 7.7 is amazing. Attack pushback tug now. No, I do not want. We want to board
Pilot's
both.
boarding starting.
Okay, so APU, it's okay for us to start when we need. Hydraulic quantities are okay, and then engine oil quantity is also okay. We have hydraulic pressure system left plus center plus right. Our hydraulic systems are off. That makes sense. Cabin altitude auto is not working because we do not have an flight plan on our FMC. Nav ADIRU inertial is there because ADIRU is still off. The engines are down. There are more than one door open, which is fine at this stage. Our left and right packs are off because we have external air conditioning connected to this airplane, as you can see with these yellow ducts right below the airplane. So we have an external air conditioning for our airplane right now, so our packs are off. Fuel pressure for left and right engine, it's also okay. We do not have the engines running right now. TCAS is off. Emergency lights are also off. SATCOM is off also because of ADIRU. Set voice loss, the same thing. Brake source, maybe we need a brake source because of the hydraulic, yes. And landing altitude also because FMC is not complete, so everything is fine. So doors are manual, recirculation fans are off, and no electronic is set to on. As you can see, we do not have air conditioning but from APU, but we have an external air conditioning, so the temperature inside the airplane is 24 degrees. And look at the temperature in the cargo compartment, 46, even though we selected to 746 because you do not have air conditioning going to those cargo holds right now. So everything is okay for us to start our procedure. And Muzzy 777 says, hello sir, thank you for this stream. Going to be a nice way to relax watching my favorite plane get flown by an actual 777 pilot. Thank you so much, Muzzy 777. Fonseca, is Active Sky working properly now? A few months ago you said it was bad. Active Sky, I don't know why I said it was bad. It is working. I don't really remember what happened. It is working for me. I'm using Active Sky right now in passive mode, which means all the clouds, all the effects that you are going to see in this live stream is generated by the Microsoft Flight Simulator weather engine. However, how the weather behaves itself is modeled by Active Sky. This is what we have today. And you are asking because Active Sky is also on sale. Johnny, I have one question for you. Why do you want Active Sky? This is a very valid question. I have Active Sky. I do recommend, but it serves for a very specific purpose in my opinion, which is to have historic weather. For example, if you want to fly on a specific day, if you want to recreate a specific flight, or if you want to set a few things on the weather that you cannot control by Microsoft Flight Simulator. The last reason, and the last common and a good reason, and this is what we are doing today, is to have an atmosphere that behaves like a real one in terms of altitude readings. So today it's very hot in the United States. It's almost 40 degrees Celsius. I don't even know how much that is in Fahrenheit. So it's a really high temperature in the United States today. So our indicated altitude is going to be higher than the actual altitude because of these high temperatures. So this is one reason also that can bring you to buy Active Sky. Okay, you fly on iVail and you want turbulence. Okay, it can be something. I don't really feel turbulence in Microsoft Flight Simulator on the 777 at all. I don't know if it's about the 777. Also in real life, I would say that I feel more the turbulence, but it's different because in real life we feel the turbulence, but the fly-by-wire system on the 777 is so good that it compensates most of it. So at the end of the day, I think the way I handle the 777 in the sim is almost the same way I handle in real life, even though it doesn't feel, I do not feel the turbulence in the Microsoft Flight Simulator, but I will say that in real life I feel it and the airplane controls itself. So yeah, if you want, yes, by all means, go ahead. It's working, okay? It's working. The drone guy says buenas. Thank you so much for being here as well. So we discuss that everything is fine with the airplane. Let's go to our overhead panel right now. Start our ADRU. So ADRU on, voice recorder to on, emergency lights to the arm position. And a quick check here that our PECs are off and recirculation fans are off, so our external air conditioning is connected. One pilot needs to go out for the exterior inspection. We need to set parking brake. So parking brake today, maybe because we don't have enough pressure. Let's talk to engineer and turn on the right electric pump. Okay, now if we go back, we have full pressure. Yep. Now parking brake is set, and we are going to have hydraulic pressure left plus center plus right really soon, because I just turned off everything. Yep, that's it. And brake source we can cancel. So one pilot is going out for the walk around. It is fine. Now everything is set, and the other pilot is preparing the FMC. To prepare the FMC, I'm going to bring the tablet here today, so we can check our 777-300 with G9115BL for the engines. The database is valid until the 9th of July, and we have a cruise degradation of 0.6. So I'm going to enter plus 0.6 as a fuel flow, and that's it. So position initialization, we are at Kilo Bravo Oscar Sierra, Boston. We are going to use the GPS position to align our inertial. For the route, I'm going to make a route request. We have from SimBrief. I'm already going to set payload, fuel, and select the route. Of course, payload and fuel set is not part of the real airplane, so that specific screen that you just saw a few seconds ago does not happen in the real airplane. What happened in the real airplane is this one. So you request the route, and then you have information about your route uplink, and you can load or purge this route. Descent forecast uplink is ready, and wind data uplink is also ready, performance is also ready, and route 1 uplink is ready. So we are going to load our route 1. So route 1 uplink loading. So we can already check that we have American Airlines 19 from Boston to JFK, and our route is SOX, direct Buzzard, and then Sierra Echo Yankee VOR to departure for arrival. I can activate and execute. Then what we are going to do today, we are going to come here in comms. Flight control mode was not supposed to be there. We are going to check that message in a few seconds. So flight information, ATIS request, Kilo Bravo Oscar Sierra. We are going to send. So then we know how it is our airport right now. So a few minutes ago was operating runway 33 right for departure, if I'm not mistaken. Here we have 33 left. Let's see. So we requested for the 80s. Yes, we requested. In a few minutes we are going.
Passengers boarding starting.
Okay, they started the passenger boarding. What else we are going to request? Just in case, to have something, have a fuel truck around. Just when we go outside, we will be able to see a fuel truck. So, new messages. Boston information mic at 1854 Zulu, surface wind 300 at 10, visibility is over 10 stated mile, clouds fill 2500, temperature 38, dew point 14, altimeter 2983. I'm going to select here 2983. Yep, 2983 is selected. And yeah, generated by PMDG using VATSIM data. Just in case, if I go on ATIS request, and then I say PMDG, does it gives me the actual one in real life? Anyway, so runway 33 left. Yeah, that's the one we are going to depart. So 33 left makes sense with our flight plan. Let's select runway 33 left. So we have departures only for runway 33 left. SOX 7 departure. Legs. So heading, let's check this. And nope, this one. So as it is, SOX 7. From runway 33 left. Climb on heading 330, intercept course 314 to Terk, then on track 250 we have 249 to Cozy at or above 5,000 feet, then on the picture road to SOX. From SOX, maintain 5,000 and expect clearance to field altitude within 10 minutes after departure. So top altitude is 5,000. So we are departing 314 Tex, Cozy, and then Sea Bear, Colin, and SOX. It's all there is correct. Departure and arrival. We are expecting to arrive into JFK. I can cancel this, and the new one. Yeah, this is the real one. Okay, that's nice. So 2983, everything as we know. Departing runway 33 left. Perfect. So 33 left, that's what we have. And then, because this is a short flight, we are going also to request 80s from our arrival. I will start with VATSIM first because I think that is an ATC on VATSIM. And recruiters say it would be really interesting if you could do a detailed series on the actual operation of the Bigfoot along with the VATSIM ATC. Recruiter, is slightly difficult to do actual operation when it comes to VATSIM if you are flying alone, because most of the things that we have on VATSIM are actually the interaction with ATC and frequency changes and all of this. So I rather continue the series that I'm doing, specific procedures, all the procedures, covering all the procedures, normal procedures for now for the 777, and then you apply as much as you can on your VATSIM and Aveo flights. Because if I have to stop to explain something about VATSIM, then we are going to mess up with the operating procedures of the airplane, and it can be slightly tricky for many people. So I will keep things separated. Today you're going to watch a full flight. Everything that I do in real life, I'm going to perform here today on this flight, and you're going to see me dealing with VATSIM as well. As Recruiter just level up his membership to the first officer level, and Johnny is now on the jump seat of this channel. Thank you so much, guys, for your commitment to the channel. Thank you so much. So we have a new one example I will give you right now. Usually in real life we don't get the arrival 80s before departure. There is no point, especially on a 777. Usually we do long flights, like I flew from the Middle East all the way to New York. Of course, we know the forecast for New York, but we are not really worried about the operation on the airport until we are maybe 3-4 hours away from the airport. But today is a short flight. It's 45 minutes from New York to Boston, so it's good to have an idea, because most probably what we have now in New York is what we are going to get on arrival. So they say they are expecting, we are expecting ILS runway 22 left. By the way, this is something that we do in real life. If it's using runway 22 left ILS, that's what we are going to plan for. However, if you have something, let's say my ILS is not working today, something happened in flight and then the ILS system is not working, we need to do an RNAV approach. That's something that we can simulate if you keep voting for the RNAV approach into New York. Then we are going to request an RNAV from New York, and then we are going to change that approach. Okay, so as of now, I'm still going to select ILS 22 left, Part 4 arrival, Sierra Echo India transition. No transition on the ILS as I remember. Let's see, ILS 22 left. From Deer Park, yeah, we do not need a transition, and as you can see on our legs, after Sierra Echo India, we have Part 4 arrival. Sierra Echo India is Sandy Point, all the way down here. So after Sandy Point, Parch, then Calverton, it says expect to 50 and 12,000 feet. So this is, if we get a descent via arrival, we don't get actually descents via arrival in New York because there are no altitudes on the arrival itself, at least not on this one. They are all expect altitudes. So we descend as ATC tell us, but as it's mentioned expect, there's a high chance that ATC will give us exactly this clearance. And that's what I got when I was approaching New York 3 days ago. So 250, 12,000 is there. Then we go to rubber, and from rubber, if we are landing on runway 22 left, we go to Crail, and then we maintain that heading 283 vectors to Rosalie, Jalpo, ILS 22 left with the missed approach, so we can execute that. Now we can do a route copy as we have a route copy, I can talk about route 2. In case we need to come back to Boston, we are going to land on the same runway because this is one of the longest runways that we have here. So in case we need to come back, our arrival will be runway 33 left. And we do not have an islet for that runway. So let's go to departure, approach in Boston. Runway 33 left. Yeah, ILS 33 left. Of course, that's the main runway. Index, one more time, Boston. We do not have approaches. What happened to Boston arrivals? Anyway, in that case, let's say we have this problem. We are departing from Boston. Now I found it, but it should be here also in Boston arrivals. Anyway, on this one, on the second one, I can find the ILS. Okay, I found the ILS from commas. That is okay. That's what we are going to have. And most probably, so I'm going to reselect this, and on our SID, once we are around calling, that's the point to come back to the ILS. So Kojas after at I'm going to set on plan. Yep, calling to Kojas, if you can understand. So Cozy, Sea Bear, calling, and then Kojas. So this is going to be our comeback to runway 33 left if we need. So route 2 is set as route 1. So route is set. Now performance. We can accept this performance with 7.9 on reserves, level 220, and cost index is 15. We can accept, and the zero fuel weight, estimated zero fuel weight, 209.8. 209.8 as zero fuel weight. Thrust limit, we are going to check it later on. Out of here, we are going to perform noise abatement procedure number 1. Acceleration altitude at 3,000 feet only. So for our fix Boston, 25 miles, MSA is 2,500. We are going to check, and then we go to, I'm going to select KJ. I will leave it later on because it's going to be an RNAV most probably, so I'm not going to do anything now related to arrival. So we have the legs page checked, hold. On the legs page, route data, we can load the wind. And descent forecast, we can also load the descent forecast. Execute everything and go back to our FMC. We should have 44 minutes, so 200. We have 51 minutes. Makes sense. Slightly longer because of our departure and maybe our arrival. And arrival fuel is 9.6. So we are departing with 15.5, and we are going to burn 6 tons, right? So trip 5.5 plus 500, no, taxi. So trip 5.5 and taxi 300, yeah, almost 6. So 15.5 minus 6, 9.6 makes sense. So we have good data here, and we are going to talk about performance later on. So that's what we have on our FMC. Captain can do is pre-flight procedure, TCAS off, we can cancel, so we have nothing on status right now. So heading for departure is 330. So 330, initial altitude is 5,000 feet, and we can select traffic, airport, and on the first officer side, traffic, that is fine. VOR, and airport as well. I have a physical MCP here, so let me show you guys. This is my physical MCP, so everything that you can see here on my MCP, I can do it here on the physical one. Okay, so if you see something moving on the MCP and you do not see my mouse, is because I'm doing on the physical one. Same thing for the FMC. Okay, I tend to do most of my pre-flight on the screen, but in flight I'm going to use more my FMC. So there we go. Oxygen tested. Then we have Toga flight director. First point is an intercept, so it's not there, makes sense. 2983 is all set. Parking brake, and here alternate flaps are off. Want to talk to ATC. I want to listen to this guy as well. Data, this is 121.5. Same thing for the first officer here, and that's it. So captain side is complete. First officer side, let's just check our overhead. We are almost ready to go, so we can start our APU. First officer side, I checked everything, auto brake, RTO, and here is all fine. We go to cabin interphone directory and we leave it indoors. This is all 0 is set. Captain, does the 777 single engine taxi or is not allowed? Yeah, it is possible to do single engine taxi. The company that I work for, we only do single engine taxi on arrival, not on departure. Usually you are very heavy on departure, so we do not do single engine taxi on departure. On arrival, it depends on the place, it depends on the weight, it depends on how is the environment, but yes, most probably we can do single engine taxi into New York today. Luciano, boa tarde, obrigado pela presença, mais um membro aqui do canal. Obrigado pela presença, Luciano. So, we are ready. I got a message on VATSIM. Let me check that message. It's an ACARS message. We got our clearance. So SOC 7, altitude 220, squawk 7312. Squawk 7312. Climb via SID. Accept 220 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 122.8. Advise 80s and location. Contact on 1219 to push. That is perfect. So we have a new 80s. Well, actually, let's go on communication, flight information, and request an ATC from 80s from Boston, because now we have ground controller on VATSIM. So our clearance is Boston Kennedy 33 left as of now. SOX 7 is our departure. 5,000 feet is set. No, is 220. So altitude is 220 today. Because we do not have a departure controller, we are clear to climb all the way to 220. So we have information Juliet. Yeah, so we have information Juliet today for departure. So we are almost ready. I can come up here again. By the way, pre-flight checklist, oxygen is tested 100%, and flight instruments we have heading 303, altimeter 2983. Pre-flight checklist is complete. So APU is running. I can disconnect external power, and then we can come here and request almost all passengers are there. I will abort everything because we already have, and we can go to our ground operations, and I'm going to release air conditioning unit and ground power. As they are not here anymore, now we can connect our packs and recirculation fans, so we have air conditioning from the airplane. Last step today, our performance tool. So we are going to select runway 33 left for departure. 33 left for departure. We are going to import everything from the airplane. I'm just going to change wind to 0 in this case, and we are going to wind 0/0. Okay, so with that said, we can go with takeoff 2, select temperature 51, flaps 5, CG that we have is 29, and the speeds are 149 as V1, 152 as VR, and 157 as V2. On the next page, we can check the acceleration height 1000 feet for engine out, for standard departure 3000 feet. And our VREF flaps 30 index approach 142, 141 makes sense. We have the correct weight, 1 knot, it is okay. We are going to burn a little bit of fuel during taxi anyway, so it's all set. So takeoff is all set, 157 as V2, so V2 157. We already have our clearance, so we can arm LNAV and VNAV, and our ground is 121.9. We are almost ready to go. Let's start listening to Boston ground. Everything is set, so 157 LNAV, VNAV, 5,330. We are still waiting a few passengers. Can we complete now? Yes, we can, because we are ready to go. Boarding completed, prepare for pushback and departure.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Do you usually fly with Iveo 2? Not really. Not really. I prefer VATSIM on the United States. And as most of my flights I do on the United States, I keep with VATSIM, but I do have Iveo account as well, which should be inactive at this stage.
Departure checks completed. Bypass
So,
pin inserted.
let's do our pre-flight. So seatbelts on, right demand pump to on, primary center pumps on, left demand pump on, and center demand pumps also on. Fuel pump on the main tanks on, beacon on, Recall. Engine shut down.
Speedbird 213 with you on an Alpha.
And TCAS off.
Speedbird 213,
And
super ground.
transponder to
Taxi via Bravo, Zulu Park.
transponder. Let's just check. I thought it was
Taxi via Bravo, Zulu Park. Speedbird 213.
Juliet. Yeah, information Juliet. Checklist. Flight deck door is closed and locked. MCP V2157 heading 330, altitude 5,000 feet. Takeoff speeds V1 149, VR 152, V2157. CDU pre-flight is completed. We are missing the trim at 4.75. 25, 50, 75, 0 and 0. Taxi and takeoff briefing complete. Before start, checklist is complete. Boston ground, hello, American 19, heavy information Juliet for push and start.
American 19, heavy Boston ground, thank you for Juliet. Push and start onto Alpha is approved. Face north, expect runway 33 left.
Facing north on Alpha, expect 33 left, American 19 heavy. So facing north is going to be nose to the right, tail to the left. By the way, we need to remove shocks.
Release parking brakes, please.
Okay, we are going to release parking brake.
Commencing push. All engines clear, start at will.
Thank you so much. So we can start. Right engine, start. Fuel control, right to run. And meanwhile, I'm going to select here my electronic flight bag. So we are going to push on Alpha, facing north, and then our taxi expected most probably Charlie to cross all the runways, and then Delta 33 left, something like that. We'll see that soon. Quite fast to this pushback, right? Okay, not our fault. So right engine start is complete right now. We go for the left one. Left engine start and fuel control to run.
Please set parking brakes.
So we are going to set parking brake, brakes, parking brake, set. Left engine almost complete. So we have N1 still increasing, EGT is increasing, is going to start dropping right now. N2 is steady. Fuel flow also,
Unlocking gear.
oil pressure, oil temperature, oil quantity and vibration. Flaps 5, that's flaps 5 for our takeoff, and then first officer can come all the way here, turn APU off, make sure anti-ice are in the auto position. Then we can do a flight control check.
Bypass pin removed. Left is clear, right is clear.
Full down, full up, full right, full left, and he's moving, showing me the pin. Yes, so we can check the rudder. Full right, neutral again, full left, recall, TCAS off, cancel ICAS, before taxi checklist, anti-ice Auto, recall checked, flight controls checked, ground equipment clear. Before taxi checklist complete, we do not have camera on this airplane. I'm going to remove my camera so you can start checking the entire airplane. And American 19 Heavy, ready to taxi.
American 19er Heavy, runway 33 left, taxi via Alpha Charlie, cross 4 left, hold short 4 right.
American 19 Heavy, runway 33 left to taxi via Alpha Charlie, cross 4 left and hold short 4 right. Okay. So, taxi light on.
Boston ground, 0213 down for ATC. Have a good night.
Just to make sure we know what we are doing, we go Alpha, right on Charlie, cross first runway and hold short second runway on Charlie. Parking brake released. There we go. Airplane light like this today. We have 225 tons. Should move by itself. Okay, yeah, as you can see, it is moving. Start slowly in the beginning, but it's fine. So second to the right. Now we just need cabin to be ready for our departure. We don't need that right now. Okay, next right on Charlie. And we are clear to cross runway 4 left. Hold short 4 right. It's 90 degrees turn, so maximum 10 knots. I'm going to brake a little bit. I'm going to bring the speed down to something like 7 or 8 before starting this turn. Yep. There we go. Now we are going to cross one runway. So to cross one runway, my company operational procedure, sorry, wrong, is all lights on and also transponder to TARA, and we can cross. Of course, you always check left, right, clear to cross. Traffic landing. So we are getting out of the runway. Oops, too much. Transponder back to transponder, and we are going to have TCAS off. We can cancel. And now we hold short the next one.
American 19 Heavy, cross runway 4 right, hold short 27.
Cross 4 right, hold short 27. American 19 Heavy. Cross 4 right, hold short 27. Okay, there is another runway here that we have to cross. Makes sense. Okay. Whoops. There we go. So we are clear to cross. One more time. Landing, turn off, strobo, and transponder. If I had clearance to cross both runways, I would keep everything on. However, as I did not have,
JetBlue 32, welcome to Boston. Cross
I have to turn on and off.
on Kilo Alpha departure.
Okay, out, landing, turn off, strobo, one more time,
And Alpha departure.
and transponder to transponder, and TCAS off.
American 19 Heavy, contact Boston departure 133.0, hold short 27.
Hold short at 27 and 133.0. American 19 Heavy, bye bye. Hold short 27. So
Thank you so much.
we are going to hold short runway 27. Yeah, it's white, we right turn and then we hold short, which is fine. And 1330. That's the bad part in here when you are alone and you have to select everything by yourself. 330. Slowing down so we have time to talk to him. Lost on departure. Hello, American 19 Heavy, holding short runway 27.
American 19 Heavy, off departure, cross runway 27.
Cross runway 27, American 19 Heavy. So one more time, we are clear to cross. Lights, strobo, transponder. Left side is clear, right side is clear.
No, Mike.
So we cross, we are still not clear for takeoff, so all lights off again. Transponder to transponder, and now weather radar on one side, terrain on the other side. TCAS off, we cancel, and before takeoff checklist complete. Checklist complete, we can cancel, and we are ready to go. One more time, 90 degrees turn to the left. We are going to reduce our speed to 10 knots or less.
American 19 Heavy, the Boston wind 30012 gust 16, runway 33 left, clear for takeoff.
Runway 33 left, clear for takeoff, American 19 Heavy. Okay, I'm going to slow down quite a bit here so I can go really fast to all of these. Set. A little bit of thrust now to do it faster. Johnny asks, how do you perform the TCAS test on the 777? We don't. If it's not working, we get a status message and that's it. On the 777, we do not perform most of the tests that you see on other airplanes. The system keeps checking itself, and when it's not working, you get a status message. I can show you on arrival in New York. Remember, when we parked, I can show you, I can fail something on the airplane, like the TCAS, and then I show you the indications for the pilots. So there we go, we are aligned, little bit of thrust. So takeoff, thrust up to, oops, to 55% and 1. Toga, thrust ref. Set takeoff thrust. Thrust set. 80 knots. Checked. Remove the hand, rotate, and we can start flying the 777. Positive rate, gear up, LNAV. I'm not going to pitch the flaps too much now. Pitch feels better. Autopilot engaged. American 19, 1000 climbing 5000.
American 19, thanks for radar contact, climb maintain 14000.
Climb maintain 14000, American 19 heavy. 14000 is set. So we have climb 2 on the thrust, and we are only accelerating after 3000 feet. We need to cross cozy 5000 or above, climbing 14000. Guys, I will answer all your questions in a minute. 3000, airplane starts accelerating. So we have speed 240, which is flap 5 speed minus 5 knots. The flaps 5 speed limit minus 5 knots. Now we can select flaps 1. Flaps up. And the airspeed is going to 250 knots. That's 1000 for our restriction. So flap up. After takeoff checklist. After takeoff checklist is complete. Let's go with your questions. In PMDG, is there a camera that lets you see the front landing gear? I don't think that there is a specific camera by PMDG that you can do it, but you can position your camera there if you want. The drone camera, and it's going to be static in a place like I did before the flight. I created this camera. So then you move it as you want, and after takeoff you just change the drone camera and it's going to be there, for example. Decolamos, galerinha! Aí, ó, o pessoal lembrando do Vic. Guys, one of our Brazilian friends and YouTuber from Vic Games, he says, we just took off, guys! Every time that we take off, and most probably showing you camera outside of the airplane while the gears are retracting. So that's why I believe Recruta asked and Johnny said, decolamos, galerinha, é isso aí. Bem lembrado, galera. So, VNAV page on this side, and we can work on maybe later on New York on frequency 12575. I will keep here.
We are proceeding direct to Papa, you from Delta to
That's the next
Aries orders
frequency, most probably.
281 heavy Boston approach, altimeters 2982, clear direct touch, then resume the ocean.
10,000
arrival
accelerating
runway
to
27 transition.
pretty much 300
The
knots.
altimeter, once again, 2982.
Seatbelts,
you can just
auto,
send via ocean
no
upon
electronics, auto, landing gear, landing lights off, run it, turn off, taxi light off.
By the ocean,
American 19, you're climbing out of my airspace. Officers offline, change your advisory as per.
Thank you, American 19 Heavy. Have a good day. Bye-bye. So we are clear. We go 220 now. 220 set. Frequency should be 122.8. I'm going to start looking for New York soon to see what's going on in New York. Ferran Gonzalez, hello. One question: are you using Boris sound pack? No, I'm not, Ferran. I put my camera back. So Ferran, I'm not using it because I don't really listen to the airplane with the headsets, and I don't really care about the sounds. I know that many people like it. Most probably you are a fan of it, but I don't care about the sounds, really. I don't care about the sounds. I don't care about the cabin. I don't care about the toilet. I don't care about all those things. What I would like to see is better no normal checklist in PMDG. That's the only thing I would like to see improved. Apart from that, I'm very, very happy with the airplane. It gives a warning about the landing gear being misaligned when you start taking off in it, just like in real life. This is my so Recruta, what are you saying? Yeah, if the thing is, on the 777 300, now it's a good question. We cross the transition auto, so I'm going to set it to standard. Not yet. Standard, set, and cross-checked. So the third pair of wheels on the main landing gear, it turns with your steering. So once you start your takeoff, if you set your takeoff thrust and those tires are not aligned, you get a configuration warning. So that's why before applying thrust, we make sure we release the tiller and we start controlling the airplane only on the rudder, because we still have some control of the nose landing gear steering, but not the main landing gear with the rudder. So you can use the rudder as much as you want. You are not going to get a warning. But if you are still using the steering, maybe you get a warning on your takeoff row. Sorry, Ferran, I have no interest about the Boris audio pack, but I heard that is really nice. It is amazing. Most of people that uses it recommend it, so I think it's a good add-on for the PMDG. I just don't use. It's not part of my preferences. Hello, a question. When are the wing lights turned on? Route 6 is asking. The wing lights we only use for wing inspection, and most of the time that happens on the ground at night in icing conditions. So if you have icing conditions at night, then you are going to turn the wing light on to do the exterior inspection to make sure your wings are clear of ice. Sometimes even at night, if you have good floodlights on the airport apron itself, you don't even need it. As of today, being almost 9 years on this airplane in real life, I think I turn on those lights one time. Don't really need it. Some companies, they use their wing lights for takeoff and landing as well, because they use all the lights available on the airplane to make the airplane more visible to the others, and I think it's a good idea. Not part of I would say Boeing's standard procedure, but also not a problem if you do it. Some companies, they prefer to do it. Maybe it's a good idea. Not the company that I fly for, that's why I don't turn them on here. Thank you everyone for understanding, and please let me know if you have any other question, guys, especially questions about the system or pilot life or 777 or Boeing or PMDG, even this question about Boris audio pack. I'm not interested, but I heard good things, so we take it from there. Let's see our question. So 61% vote on the RNAV approach. I'm going to finish, and we are going to do an RNAV approach into New York. Congratulations, guys, you got your RNAV approach. Okay, let's start discussing this. First, let's calculate landing performance, and we need a new 80s. So there we go. Arriving with 8.6 is perfect. So performance 2, landing en route, runway 22 left. So VRF plus 5, flaps 30, reverse, auto brake 3 is more than enough. Yeah, auto brake 3 is going to be good for us today. No reverse, that is amazing. So we already know our auto brake. Our landing weight should be 218.3. 139 makes 144, makes sense. So we have correct here. Review, uplinks. Yeah, we got a new message now. So Kennedy, information delta at 1951, 200 at 14, visibility over 10, clouds scattered at 7, temperature 34, dew point 22, altimeter 29092. 29092 is preset. We were supposed to have a controller in New York. Oh, he just left. Okay, so we don't have to ask for ATC, the procedure. We are going to do that procedure. So let me show you this camera here. I think, oops, is the best one that we can have for what we are going to do right now. So arrival, we already know. Approach, we are going to go for the RNAV GPS runway 22 left, which is not aligned with the runway. Okay, and it says somewhere in this chart, at least the chart that I had yesterday or 3 days ago, we are basically 10 degrees off. So we are going to fly eventually direct to Capit, to cross Capit at 2900 or above. Then we are going to turn left until any, cross 17,000 or above, and then descend on a 3-degree glide path to cross Zosdo at 800 feet, going down to minimums of 413 for the LNAV, VNAV approach, straight landing runway 22 left. As you can see, the fix that we have here is Charlie Fox Lima November November, and is not the runway 22 left. So before changing, I'm going to select runway 22 left on the fixed page, and I'm going to select 5 miles. No, I'm not going to do this because maybe this is going to affect you. So I'm going to do only 044 as bearing, and our final approach fix is any. Now I'm going to change arrival into New York, RNAV X-ray 22 left, no transition. So after vectors, capit is there. First thing, I do not want to intercept with 240 knots, so 180 knots by capit. Any, we are going to be close to our final approach speed, so 160 by any. And 144 is the speed that we are going to be crossing the threshold. So I'm going to change this to plan, and I'm going to show you that we are not aligned with the runway. Eventually we cross the runway alignment and we make a shallow left turn towards runway 22 left. That's why in this case we are going to use LNAV and VNAV all the way to the final, and then once we are visual and ready to make the turn, we are going to stop looking to the flight directors and we are going to do our visual turn towards the runway. If you were performing another approach, if you were performing approach the standard, not the X-ray approach, what's the other one? The Yankee. If you were performing the Yankee, you see that you have runway 22 left there, and then you would be able to fly all the way towards the runway following the flight director. This is not the case for us today, but the approach basically is the same. LNAV, VNAV, all the way down on the approach. And I think we have a message. Auto ATC, Boston Center advise cross Calverton at and maintain 12,000 feet, 25 knots, altimeter 2992, no separation services provided. So where is our top of descent? In 35 miles. Okay, so I'm going to set 12,000 and 250 by Calverton, so 250, 12,000 by Calverton. And now our top of descent is in 20 miles. Okay, let's go back to this here. So as you can see, we are not going to be aligned with the runway. The last part is going to be manual flight towards the runway and without flight directors. Everything else is going to be as you were on a normal arrival. You set your altitudes. Initially we are going to set 2,900, then we are going to set 700, then we are going to set 800, and then we are going to set our minimums of 413. It's a DA, so 413 is set, and that's it. So recall, no problem, we have a communication, and yeah, we can cancel this. So recall is clean. We can do checklist. Recall checked, notes checked, auto brake 3. Landing data VREF 3139, minimum value 413, and approach briefing is complete. Checklist is complete. Who asked about the RNAV was Johnny, right? So Johnny, what we are going to do? We are going to let LNAV and VNAV to work. However, 777 does not follow the speed on approach automatically. We have to select the speed. So we need to make sure we are on VNAV path and start reducing our speed as we need for this approach. If we are too high or too fast, you keep VNAV and use your speed brake. If you are too low or too slow, the airplane is going to command thrust using auto throttles to reach your altitude. So now, because we do not have anybody, I have to change to 122.8. That is, yep, the beginning of our descent. And I want to see the CTAF for JFK. CTAF AJFK is 19.1. That's the frequency that we are going to call to coordinate our arrival into New York. So 19.1 is on standby. Okay, so before top of descent, the airplane decelerates to the descent speed 257. Now it's going to idle and it's going to descend on the path to cross Calverton. Charlie, 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 if you are at 12,000 feet and 250 knots. This is a good time to give a PA to the passengers. Dear passengers, welcome aboard this Boeing 777 300-yard flight from Boston to New York. We just start our descent into New York, temperature around 38 degrees Celsius, good weather today, and we are expecting to land on runway 22 left in about 28 minutes. I really appreciate you choosing American Airlines for your flight today, and I give you more information about our parking stand once we are on the ground. Thank you so much. There we go. And legs, VNAV. Outside, approaching Long Island. We are approaching 18,000. We can set 2992 is set and cross check, and then approach checklist altimeters 2992 approach checklist complete. As you can see, the vectors after Craig goes towards the airport, so we are going to fly Craig and Capit. So I can even select that because we do not have ATC today. Craig, Capit today for our RNAV approach. Back to VNAV page. Amazing weather today in the east coast of United States. Right now our speed is higher than expected, so if you are having problems like Johnny that usually you get high on approach. Don't let this happen. I'm not going to do anything. Well, I'm going to do it today to show you. As of now, I'm still okay with this 15 knots more on speed, because we are going to cross Calverton at 12,000 feet anyway. But if that is a problem for you, use your speed brake. Okay, take your speed brake. You can use a little bit, you can use all, whatever you need to have your airspeed back in control. So 257 is what we want at this stage. So as you can see, it's going to 257. I start retracting the speed brake now, and there we go. We are going to maintain 257. In real life, I barely do this kind of adjustment when we have just a little bit of speed, but when we are high and fast, yes, you're going to need your speed brake. Right now we are 3,400 feet to reach Calverton at 12,000 and only 10 knots, and we need to reduce speed by 8 knots. So basically not much of speed reduction, just 3,000 to go, 11 miles, it is okay. Traffic information in New York area, American 19 Heavy is passing 14,000 down on part 4 arrival into JFK. As you can see, speed is increasing again. I don't see as a big problem right now. We are reaching 12,000 feet just before Calverton, and we are almost at 250 knots, so easy recoverable. So next altitude is 2,900 by Capit. Another thing that you can do, you can hard select 2,900 by Capit, so that makes sure you are not high. That is 1,000 to go. I can actually do that for you today. It's not something that I do in real life, but it's something recommended in the Boeing Flight Crew Training Manual. So 180, 2,900. It says invalid entry. I will check that soon. So we are reaching 12,000. Next altitude is going to be 2,900. Have 4 TV 777 for almost 9 years now. Started 2017. So 250, 12,000. Do you have cool pictures anywhere we can look at? A couple of pictures on the channel Instagram. Not many, not many. You will find something there. I think it's on the video description. Otherwise, you can just search for level change on Instagram. So I'm going to change to 180/2900. It's not allowing me to do that. 2,900. Well, it's not allowing me to do that, but I can guarantee to you in the real airplane you can do. I just deleted that line. Let it calculate it again. Anyway, I will keep that 180, 2,900 or above. It's going to cross at 2,900 or above anyway. So we are approaching 10,000. No electronics on. Seatbelts on, landing lights on, runway turn off, on, taxi light on, and then you can give up yay. Cabin crew, prepare for landing. And that's it. Airplane reducing now to 240 knots. Standard Boeing speed below 10, because if you keep your speed slightly high on VNAV, because you have more tailwind than expected or less headwind than expected, you are going to maintain something like 250 knots and you are going to comply with the ATC restriction. That's why Boeing on the FMC has a 240 knots speed limit below 10,000 feet. You can always change to 250 if you want, but the standard VNAV descent speed is 240 knots below 10,000 feet. By the way, we crossed 10,000, my camera is going off, and we are ready for this approach. As you can see right now, airplane is in idle thrust, trying to keep the path and 240 knots. Now that speed is getting to 240, we have a little bit of thrust being added by the airplane to maintain that path. By the way, our final approach fix is any, and I'm going to use any 2 miles around any. This is the time that we set the gear down and flaps 20 on our approach. This is the famous approach glide path called on the Boeing RNAV procedures, or I would say non-ILS procedures. Well, Krieger, hello Captain, thanks for the exclusive content you are bringing to us. Could you tell us a little bit about your aviation career? Where did you get your license? Yes, I can. Cabin is ready, so while we are still approaching, I have some time. I am Brazilian. I started my courses south of Brazil, where I used to live, in a small air club. Then I moved to a place slightly north than the southernmost part of Brazil, but still south of São Paulo. I did a bachelor degree in aeronautic science, and at that time I complete my private pilot license, my commercial pilot license, my IFR rating, and my flight instructor rating. Then I became flight instructor. 1 year later, I did my multi-engine rating and also jet training. At the same year, I did my English aviation test, and that was pretty much 2008 when I was, I would say, ready to join a company, around 1,000 hours and everything ready. It took me 2 years, another 500 hours later. I joined Gol to fly 737 in Brazil. I flew there for almost 8 years. 737 NG only, 700 and 800, and after that I moved to the Middle East to fly the 777. I'm in the Middle East since October 17. Always and also always and only on the 777, flying the 777-300 ER, 200 LR, and the 200 freighter. Right now I'm about to finish a master's, a post-doctorate, a post-graduation actually, in aviation safety as well. I should finish that by September. And I'm here online in Aveo and VATSIM for the past 20 years, maybe, no more. I'm turning 39 now. I started when I was 13, so 26 years maybe. On the flight sim, maybe Aveo and VATSIM later on when they started. So basically since the beginning here. So we are okay. We are doing fine. Eventually the speed is going to drop to 180 by capit, and then at that time we are going to select flaps 1 and we are going to open the speed window to control the speed ourselves. Right now I'm going to change to CTAF in New York and make a position report. Kennedy traffic, American 19 Heavy is 13 miles out of Capit for the Arnav X-ray runway 22 left. And I'm landing on 22 left. Arnav X-ray runway 22 left as of now. First officer side here. 25. Yep. There we are, we have headwind, so the airplane is using thrust to maintain the path. Salve salve Bruno, obrigado pela mensagem, obrigado por estar acompanhando o canal aí de novo. Hoje o pessoal votou numa aproximação R-nave, estamos fazendo uma aproximação R-nave deslocada aqui na pista 22 esquerda de Nova York. A seta, ou melhor, a linha verde é a linha da final e a linha magenta, é claro, a linha do nosso procedimento. Normalmente feito por abatimento de ruído. O pessoal não quer que passe perto aqui de algumas casas importantes que tem na região aqui. Causa muito barulho, então a gente fica um pouquinho mais para a esquerda. Sheronilis, hi Captain, does AK allow pilots to exclusively fly the 777 or you need to fly both passenger and freighter? Thank you. I believe that in Emirates they fly one or the other. I'm not sure about it, okay? I'm not sure about it. I believe that they are separated, not like in my company that we do everything. Yeah, it was a nice trajectory, I cannot complain. Yeah, reaching, well, I'm over 14,000 hours right now, so soon we'll be reaching 15. So there we go. We got the altitude alert warning telling us that we are approaching 2,900, which is select on our MCP. I'm happy with that speed. So now flaps 1, speed window open, and we select flaps 1 speed. So I extended the flaps, open the speed window, and select flap 1 speed. Note the airplane keeps VNAV and is reducing now to 200 knots. I'm going to select flaps 5 because I want it to be reducing to 180 right now. And the next altitude that we have is 1,700. I recommend this one, picture of the cockpit because you can see the VNAV and you can see the legs page on that side, so you can follow the altitudes from the right CDU set on your MCP and you have a good idea of your VNAV on the left side. So final approach course is 234 for this approach.
Traffic at Delta 5750 pushing gate 35 will be towards Spot 4.
Bora lá, Brunão, obrigado pela presença mais uma vez. So speed is not reducing as we planned, but we are approaching glide path, which is 2 miles to the final approach fix. Gear down and flaps 20. Reduce speed now to 160, which is flaps 20 speed, and we arm the speed brake. Next altitude is 800 feet by position Zosdo. As you can see, we are on final, 10 degrees apart from the runway. To help reduce our speed, I'm going to extend our flaps to 25. Select our minimas really soon. This is approach fix 1,700 as checked. And our minimums 420. Selecting our final speed, flaps to 30, and open the checklist. So now we have landing checklist complete, and our missed approach altitude is 3000, so I can select now 3000. The airplane keeps going down on VNAV path. We are going to cross 1000 feet stable, and as you can see, the runway is, we are left of the path,
American 3 is going to cross 31 right.
but we are going to do a small left turn towards the runway. We are at this point now, the airplane is going towards the middle of the two runways, so we just need to keep this track and then eventually make a left turn towards the runway. So I'm going to start flying manually from now on, still flying and still following the flight directors. Okay, so manual flight, flight director. Keep auto throttle connected on the 777. Keep the rate of descent. We are good on this approach. Descending too much right now. Correcting. As you can see, we are getting close to the runway. Our flight directors can go off. On the right side goes back to on, and now we fly manually towards the runway. We are quite low here. We can correct that. And now we start going down again, otherwise we are going to be very, very high on this approach. Okay. We are coming back on profile. Go down when you are 2 and 2.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
There we go. Speed brake up. We can do idle reverse today. We are not very heavy. I'm aiming second high speed to the right. Braking a little bit more then, so auto brake
Kennedy
is going
traffic, American 3 is going to depart 22
Yep.
right. Kennedy traffic.
So 60 knots, getting out of reverse.
Hotel Bravo.
Turning right here on Juliet. American 19 Heavy just landed 22 left, is going to hold short runway 22 right. Okay, now we reduce the speed for our taxi. That's it, 10 knots. We are leaving the runway right now. We are going to taxi straight ahead on Juliet. After crossing runway 22 right, we continue straight ahead. That's going to become Alpha, and then on Alpha we join the Terminal 8 ramp into American Airlines Terminal. So, speed brake retracted and weather radar off. At this stage now, first officer is going to set up the lights. Now it's going to disarm the auto brake, set the flaps up, and we'll take the transponder to transponder. However, we are going to cross runway 22 right really soon. I'm going to keep the transponder on for now, and on first officer side also terrain goes off. Yep, the airplane just departed ahead of us. American 19 Heavy is crossing now runway 22 right on Juliet. Okay.
Okay, traffic, American 3 is clear, 22 right. Traffic.
So there we go. We continue straight ahead. Flight deck experience is asking, have you thought about...
Traffic, American 3 is direct, Robertsville, final call.
Okay. Have you thought about flying a different plane like the 787? Flight deck experience, I will tell you that is not up to the pilots in the region that I fly to decide the airplane. Maybe if you fly in the United States, if you fly for American, for example, or United, you can choose your path more or less. Of course, you need to be senior to choose the airplane that you want to fly, but in my case, in the Middle East, it's up to the company. Some pilots here in the company that I fly for, they also fly the 787. 777 and 787 is the same license. So they have this option to fly both. Not an option, they have to fly both actually, if the company says so. So it's up to the company. So lights off, transponder in transponder, TCAS off is the message that I'm going to cancel right now. And we use idle reverse. It's been more than 3 minutes since we land, so I can start a single engine taxi. On the 777 you do not have to do anything, you just cut the engine. Today we are going to cut the left engine because our final turn is going to be to the left side, and that's it. Now I'm going to go on GSX and I'm going to select the parking position from the map. And today I want to park on this position. That is showing right there on the right side. Okay, I'm going to use American Airlines as our ground handling. Engine shutdown left, we can cancel that, and there we go. Ó, o Bruno gostou do pouso ali. Eu gostei do pouso também, só a aproximação ficou meio baixa. Às vezes, cara, às vezes você não tem o mesmo feeling, né? É difícil. A aeronave estava descendo ali por um bom momento, muito mais do que eu gostaria. Eu achei que eu estava corrigindo com os meus inputs e não estava. Na vida real é muito mais fácil, você consegue sentir se a aeronave respondendo melhor. How to choose to flat at 30 versus a 2010 RA call out. Well, the standard, let me give you my camera again. So the standard landing on the Boeing flight crew training manual for the 777. You come on approach, flying, approach speed, aiming, the aiming point. Usually those big 2 yellow rectangles that you see on the runway. So you are flying towards that, most probably following your RNAV, following your ILS and so on. So you keep flying that way until you cross the threshold. You are supposed to cross the threshold around 50 feet high. At this point, you are going to move your aiming point. You are going to stop looking at that point that you are aiming to come, and you are going to start looking to the end of the runway. That is going to help you to identify and control your rate of descent close to the ground. So you are looking, aiming the aiming point, and then once you cross the threshold at 50 feet, if you are at the correct place, you just start looking to the end of the runway. That is also going to give you a good situational awareness of your distance to the end of the runway, by the way. At this point, you can, or the Boeing Flight Crew Training Manual says that on the 777, you should start reducing your rate of descent. Those are the words on the Flight Crew Training Manual. It's not like the 737 that you go all the way down to your flare. No, at 50 feet, the Boeing Flight Crew Training Manual for the 777 is very specific. It says that you should start reducing your rate of descent. Usually you are faster on the 777. You don't need that 850 feet per minute all the way to your flare. You can start reducing. That reduction is going to bring your rate of descent to something like 700, 650, whatever. You just reduce your rate of descent. And as you feel the airplane, how much you pull the yoke and the airplane arrests the rate of descent, this is the time that you are going to judge your flare. And then basically, if you do a continuous and slow flare from 30 feet, you are going to be touching down with the thrust levers in idle. However, if you cross the runway slightly high, maybe you cannot arrest your rate of descent at 50 feet, and then you need a more aggressive flare around 30. Maybe you reduce too much your rate of descent, and now it is time for you to flare less or lower than the 30, maybe at 20, maybe at 10, depending on your rate of descent. So every landing is different. Let me make this turn here inside our American Airlines Terminal 8 in JFK. We are going to need a little bit of right thrust here. I told you that the last turn is to the left, however this turn is still to the right. As you can see outside, on the limit there. And I'm going to use this time to start.
Air traffic, Gulf 6750 is their Bravo. Last call, get ready.
Okay, there we go. Guys, I'm going to park in this position and then I'm going to answer your last questions. Look, the air tram passing by. And then I'm going to show you the things that I wanted to, or that I was about to show you before. So we go to gate 5. Doors are already manual. Not much space on this side of the airport here. Boeing 777 Whiskey is identified. We still have to go to the left a little bit. Just want to align.
PMDG traffic is American 657, left, 22 left,
Going straight.
PMDG traffic.
meters, 9.5. Four and a half, 3. I stopped long before. Little bit of thrust. Let's keep this airplane moving again. Stop. Parking brake is set. APU running. Shutting down the right engine. Seatbelts off. Center demand pumps off. Left demand pump off. Center primary pumps off. And right demand pump off. Fuel pumps to off. The left pump will be on because of the APU automatically. Beacon can go off. Now we have flight director on both sides to off. I can reset the minimas. And transponder to standby. Checklist.
Hey, traffic smoke 7, correction. Smoke
Shutdown
4
checklist.
is
Parking
737
brake
Bravo
is
crossing.
set. Shutdown
1 3
checklist
right
is
and 3 1 left
complete.
at Echo.
And we can ask
Carry on.
on our GSX for
The boarding requested.
the boarding. And wow, quite I'm going to turn off the computer volume so we can talk better. So Route 6 says, nice approach and landing. When can you input the missed approach altitude during the RNAV approach? Very, very good question. Basically, or not basically, the VNAV system says that anytime you are on the descent on VNAV path and
Okay, traffic 1264 is lining up runway 22 right at Echo.
not from here. So one more time. When you
Passengers
are
boarding starting.
on descent, VNAV path, and more than 300 feet below your missed approach altitude.
Delta 17.
So today our missed approach altitude is 3,000 feet. So 3,000 minus 300, 2,700. At 2,700 or below, if you are on VNAV path, you can set your altitude. I do not recommend you to do it that close, because if you stop your altitude selection close to your current altitude, the airplane may capture that altitude and get out of VNAV. So I would say when I'm doing an approach like at going down to 3,000, I go selecting all the altitudes until my minimas. So in this case today, I set up initially, and I'm going to bring the instrument chart here for you.
Okay, traffic 1264 is taking off 22 right currently.
I set up initially 2,900. Once we are approaching 2,900, I select the next one, 1,700. Once I select, I cross, and I'm satisfied with 1,700, I select the next one, 800. Once I select the next one, 800, I'm satisfied with the 800, I select in this case the minimums, 413, because I have, look, I can select from 500 to 400, okay?
Left on
However, if I have my minimums at 413, it rounds up to the nearest tent, and I'm able to select on the 777 420. So to select this 420, I need to have the minimums on the captain side selected to the minimums on this procedure, so I can select 420. So I selected today 420, and once I'm on this approach, going down towards 413 feet, usually in real life, I change this selector to 1000. And then with 3 clicks, I'm really fast at 3,000. 1, 2, 3. So 3,000 feet, done. Or if I'm on this one, 420, I can keep it in auto and just rotate the selector quite fast and then stop at 3,000. That's the way to do it. Okay, so 300 feet below your missed approach altitude. That is the time when you select your minimus. Flight deck experience. If you had a choice, what plane would you choose? That one. 777. And I would choose only the passenger version. Okay, I prefer the 300ER. I prefer to fly passengers. I like the roster the way it is on the passenger flight, much more stable than cargo. One question in Portuguese by Johnny. No, Johnny. I hope you can understand in English. Let me know if you cannot understand in English, but maybe this is a doubt of many people around. If you have Active Sky 2024 for 2024, you have here the Active Sky module that you can open or not. I have Active Sky on the other side. Okay, it's open in a separate program. And as you're going to see, once you have everything connected and you go to your weather, this is going to get away from the live. Why it is live here? Where is my active sky? Maybe I didn't turn on my active sky today. So my mistake. I did not turn on my active sky today. Oh no, I did. It's just on the yeah, it's just on the tray. Yeah. So it says on the active sky MSFS connected. Let me change here. So full screen. Yeah, so this is active sky. You need to see real time mode that you choose on weather control. Live weather is active. Here you have the weather mode and the sim depiction mode. You have the passive or the active sky preset control. I keep on passive, okay, and then everything is running by the active sky, okay. If you change this to active sky preset control,
taking off runway 22 right.
now you do not have live weather from Microsoft Flight Simulator anymore. And now you can see that the weather changed a little bit. Let me close this. I cannot even close this anymore. Yeah, now you see that it changed to custom. So once you are on the active sky and you change the depiction mode to preset control on active sky, it needs to go to custom and it goes automatically active sky FS weather. I prefer passive, okay, and as you can see, live weather is written here. It's back to live weather, okay? So that is the thing. Once you have active sky, if you have preset, it is going to show. It needs to come to active sky weather, okay? So if you, sometimes we have to do it a couple of times. Yeah, you see, I open and close and it shows the correct one now. That's why I prefer passive. So I will get all the information
here at last call
and turbulence and everything by active sky. However, the weather depiction is by Flight Simulator. Johnny says that he would definitely choose the airplane that pays the most. Yeah, this is a good option. Yes, maybe that's one of the reasons why I like the 777, because it's paying the most in the company that I work for, but also because of the style of the flight, because then I can fly to Brazil as well. So yeah, I do like the 777. Let's turn off the packs, recirculation fans, take our primary and secondary, and take our air conditioning unit. So there we are, ready as we were before. So yeah, the one that pays the most, it's okay. I think Route 6 understood more or less about the landing, and you understood. So Johnny, not only for Johnny, for everybody, if you use active sky, make a couple of times this change to make sure something is changing on the sim, and once you see the change, you are sure that active sky is controlling or not the weather, okay? Johnny, I think it was you that asked about the tickets, right? How you do the test and so on. So we don't really do the test. We don't do many tests on this airplane. what we have when something goes wrong is a status message. So this status blue indication is going to show on our ICAS. Then we can open the status. I was going to press this, but this is the status. And here you are going to see what you had. Actually, once I press the status, everything that was not working just disappeared. Most probably was something related to the packs that I turn it off. But I'm going to give you another option. If I go to PMDG setup and I select a failure, let me try to find the TCAS here. Yeah, I don't even know where I would find the TCAS. Most probably not on flight instruments. No. I don't think it's on the nav. I don't even know if we have this miscellaneous. Maybe clock, ISFD, standby ADI, tail strike, transponder. I'll give you an option. Transponder 1 fail. Okay, let me take the status out. So we get a TCAS indication and a TCAS status, because our transponder is on the left side and that side is just failed. So now I change to the right side and the TCAS status message disappear, and now it's not a TCAS problem, it's just that the TCAS is off. So then I can turn it back to the left side and I'm going to have the indications again. Now the TCAS is failed and I have the status message. So I know that my TCAS system on the left side is not working. And in this case, it's not working because my transponder failed. My left transponder failed. If I activate it again, we are still on the left. The message is gone. And now the TCAS is not inoperative, it's only off, and I can cancel. Maybe I can give you more examples. Like, I will give you one good example. On the 737, we do oh, here we have TCAS fail. Okay, so we execute this. Now we have again that same indication, TCAS failed and the status message. However, now we try the right side and the indication is still there, because it's not the left transponder or the right transponder, it's the system itself. And then of course the maintenance on the real life, whoops, something wrong with my camera, would come to this computer here and figure out what is the issue with that TCAS or with that transponder. So that is the way that we work. Another thing on the one system that I really like, and many people do these tests on fire protection. On the 737 you have to test for the APU fire, for the engine fire. Here you do not have to. Let's say that nothing is showing and you have an engine 1 fire loop A fault. The system will check the loop A already failed for the engine number 1, but we didn't get any message so far. So the system, look, right now we got the message status. So the system from time to time will check for the engine fire loops, and if something happens, you open the status and you have the message. Fire loop 1 on the engine left is inoperative, and that's it. You don't have to do the test, because even if you do the test right now, you are going to see that the fire test is complete and everything is working. You see, it's able to detect the fire on the engine. Fire test pass. However, if I fail the other loop,
Kennedy traffic Delta for heavy, we are now passing, we are establishing
let
4000
me
heading
take
leftward.
us out
We're
of
expecting LS2 to
VATSIM,
left approach, we call establish the local.
so you don't have to hear. Now I failed the second one. So from time to time, the airplane is going to check the loop. It doesn't take more than a minute. So it's always checking and checking and checking. Especially for the engine. For the APU, it takes a little longer. Now we have another thing. Now we have fire. I did the wrong one. So I did the same loop, but on the other engine. What I need to do is the engine 1, the B loop. So now it's going to be the opposite. I'm going to fail the left engine loop 1 and loop 2. Note that the airplane is going to test, and test and test. So we still did not recognize that the right engine is good and that the left engine is a problem. Now it recognized. So fire loop 1 for the engine left and fire loop 2 for the engine left is a problem. Not only you have those two status message, but now you have an ICAS message telling you that the fire detection system for the left engine is completely gone. And now, yes, if you do the test, fire overheat test, you are going to see that this light does not come on because it's not sensing a fire on the left engine, and is going to give you the fire test fail. So you can do the test, you still can do the test, but there is no reason for you to do the test if everything is working. Once it's not working, you can do the test and confirm that the airplane is not able to sense the fire. And then, of course, once the maintenance solve this issue, they do this test to make sure that you have the indication. So as we can see in here, I'm going to show you this really soon. If you have a fire on the engine, apart from the fire warning, you are going to see that the fuel control switch for those engines turn red and the fire handle for those engines turn red. So let's do one more time. Fire test, and as you can see, only the right side is red because even though there are fire on the left side, it cannot sense. Let's go back now and reset everything. So look, it's going to take a couple of seconds for the system to recognize that those loops are working again. So it's not automatic. The system keeps checking itself from time to time. Of course, for the engine, the time for the cycle between the tests is much faster than from the APU and so on, but still does, all the time. Eventually, for the engine, in less than 1 minute, it senses everything is correct, so we do not have any indication. Now, if we do the test, we are going to see that both fuel control switches and both fire handle switches, they are illuminated, and we have fire test pass. I hope you like this one, Johnny. This is the way on the 777. We don't do weather radar test, we don't do TCAS test, we don't do fire test. Everything is done by the airplane. I even mentioned weather radar, right? So weather radar should be in warning system, maybe, I don't know. Yes, weather radar system fail. It's the same thing. If the weather radar fails, you get a message. One more time, it's not the exact time that the system fails, but the airplane keeps checking itself, and the times and the amount of times that the airplane keeps checking itself. If I want to deboard the crew, yes.
Crew deboarding starting.
So if I do this test once on the 737 when I'm taking the 737, if something fails after that, I don't know. On the 777, it's not only doing this test before the flight, but it keeps doing all the way. We should get an indication that the weather radar is failed. Let's turn on. Now you see, if I turn it on, it shows already weather fail. It should give us a status message. I'm not sure if PMDG is going to replicate that, but in real life, because I already had, we get weather radar fail. And then of course, same thing, if you want to do the test, then it shows weather fail. Look, in the real airplane, we would have weather radar fail status message as well. Okay. So now we can have this back, and then if I test, we have the weather test that I don't really need to do. Okay, that's the way it works. And I want to say, guys, thank you for being here today. Quite late for me. Can start watching Argentina really soon. And thank you for the 36 persons that were simultaneously on this live stream at some point. And 393 persons that crossed through this live stream during this maybe I don't even know how long we are here, 2 hours and 22 minutes. So 2 hours, just over 2 hours for 300 people. Thank you so much. I really hope that you like the RNAV approaches. We can keep doing this kind of live stream where I ask you a question that is going to affect something on the flight, and then based on your decision we can close that specific live stream. Okay, thank you guys, and I see you next time. Bye bye.